When Shekaz Beimek Amal, like it's brought on the Sefer Beimek Amal, but it's lost in the beginning, the Bechriya, Ha'olam is in the beginning of the creations, Ha'olam, Tzimtzum Harishin, the Bria Ha'olam is supposed to dafke through Tzimtzum Harishin, Shahaya Bein and Seif, which in Eid and Seif there was this idea of Tzimtzum, Nishar Chal B'makim Poni, Mizeh, Hu Ashir, Shviz Havus, Hakedim, Mציאות, Ha'olam is Kulam. This idea that the Eibishter in himself, Kaviyahu, so to speak, made a Tzimtzum. He decided to cover up on himself, and in himself he made a chol b'makim poni. He made a roi. He put a place. He put away a place in him which is masim roi for brias. Where he could create the worlds, if you want to speak, if you want to say so to speak. In the Eibishter he created. He decided to create this olam lashin helim in himself. See, he made the seder would be this idea of a chol b'makim panu in the Eibishter. Nevertheless, he left the Rashimu. He left the bissel over there, something Rashimu. From the Rashimu, he brought a kav, and that kav is the beginning of all the kelim and all the tzimtzum, all the shaychus, b'chlal to have another mציאות. And after this idea of tzimtzum, helam v'hester, and covering himself over whatever it was before this house of the was, I don't know. And Nimshach, Gilo HaKav, and through that, Rishimui, there was a Kav, Chinas HaGilo HaEir, L'Ha'ir, HaKelim, L'Ha'ilumais, and this was a beginning for the Hamshach of Kelim. And the Ilumais, Haidezeh, through this Hayes Havus B'Poyel, and this is what brought the actually his Havus, the Maiseh B'Poyel, the creations. You do it like it's known, these Havus HaKelim, V'chein, Hayes Havus HaIlumais, B'Chlal, Hidei HaKav, this is Havus of the Olamus, the creations of the Olamus, and the Chlal, and all the Kelim, and all the Tzimtzum is through the Kav, the Harashimu, which comes from the Harashimu. We will come back to this Kabbalistic, very funny words in a second, like the Hiuli, which gives Koyach. For now, we're going to tie to the word of Pashut, the Pashut, the Koyach, which gives Koyach. Which is also b'makim acher, like it's brought down in other places, and in the general idea of the olamis, you have the idea of oiris and kedim. Harehu b'toich hachol, or adin b'toich hachol, which is the same idea in the chol, in this place where the Eibishter made a helam v'hester, and he put away this specific place to where he wants to create the olamis. Hachal b'makim pnui, nishar achar ha'tzimtzum, which in this chal b'makim pnui, which is left after the Eibishter was metzamtzim in himself, kaviyachol, omnam, however less. This is that it says by Adam Marishin, Shumzeh. It says by all the Merish by Nichel Gan Eden, L'Avdul L'Shamra, he used to put all the Merish in Gan Eden to watch it and to serve. What's the idea of L'Avdul Zura Mach Mitzvah Hasi? L'Shamra Shashal Lois Hasi. L'Avdul L'Shamra Mitzvah Hasi, Mitzvah Lois Hasi to do and what not to do. Haynu L'Hamshi to bring down Tisef Yisrael they came every day to bring down the Eibishter Davke in this world. Through a kav, from this kav, to bring down from the kav is connected to the oir, which is before the tzimtzum. The whole idea that the Eibishter created all the Merish to do his avoid and the shluchus in the mahazah. What to do and what not to do. The Shomer in 2 words. Is all this idea to bring down the Eid, which is in the Chol Makim Pnui. The Kav is the idea which brings the Eid down into this Chol Makim Pnui. And the Shleimus is to bring down the Eid the way it was before Atzimtzum, which is going to be connected to loss of love, the way it's going to be the Gilo in the Chol Makim Pnui, the way it was before the Tzimtzum. So we're right now preparing the world for this idea of bringing back the Eid the way it was before the Tzimtzum dafka through this kav. The word Hayuli Shenoisen Koyach, you said is the idea of pashut. If you want to keep it pashut, it's the Koyach Apshitus. And the person is Koyach Apshitus, and the Eilumus is Koyach Apshitus. There's different, in the Mishalim and Chassidus, there's a Seichlas Koyach Apashut, in the person, in the Enish, there's Koyach Apashut, in the idea of Koyach Tenua, Koyach Tzimeach, in Koyach Seichel, the Koyach Saklalim Benefesh, Koyach Apashut. In a person, in the Eilumis, there's a Koyach Pashut. It's not a Pashut Koyach, because it's not Pashut, but it's a Pashut Koyach, which is something that you can't describe. And we find in different places in Chassidus that it has a stira in it itself. In this koyach, there's a contradiction to the ayat itself. A marshal that could help understand it, which is brought down in Chassidus. There's difference in different fires. You could have a bonfire where you see the fire, you feel the fire. You could have Eish, a fire of a coal, of a yachelas, not of a medura. You don't see the fire, but it's extremely hot, and once you touch it, you could burn yourself. And not necessarily if you hit the yachelas will you see the fire in it. You could wave it, you could blow it, and you'll see a fire come out. However, there is a deeper type of Eish, and the marshal which is given in Chassidus is a koyach, ההיולי shenoisen koyach is a flintstone. When you hit the flintstone, the spark comes out. And we know that a fire has a direct and a deeper source to the galgal hashemish, to the galgal eish, which is tachas hashemish. Under the sun is a ball of fire. Fire always has this Mashiach to go up. So fire has a direct connection to its shadish. And what does the fire want? It wants to be totally disconnected from its source and connected into a bigger fire. Fire always goes up because the source of fire is Lamayla. It's in heaven. Under the sun is a ball of fire. Water, however, it goes down, it also connects to its shadish. It also, wherever you spill it, it will leak, it will pour. However, fire, whatever you do, however you light the fire and you can put it upside down, it's always going to go up because it's connecting itself to the shadish. This flintstone, the koyach hayuli, is not something that you could see, but nevertheless, its feeling is that it wants to be totally connected to the shadish of the fire, which is lamayla. At the same time, the koyach hayuli, like it says in Chassidus, is the beginning for a new Mציאות, which means it's a beginning for something separate, but at the same time, it wants to be connected to something which it comes from, something higher than it. If you want to make a keli, which the whole idea of this koyach hayuli is the shayrish for all the kelim, which a keli is tzimtzum for something itself. The actual clay, the actual goylem, the actual piece of wood that you take to use to make the keli, does that have the keli in it? Yes. Do you see it? No. You take the piece of wood, you have the goylem, you have the chomer, you have the piece that you need to make, and through that you make a tziyur, you make a form, and through that you have a tikkun. You could actually take the keli and use it out and do what you want to be mashlim in it. But this is all ilav v'alam. This is all something which includes in it ilav v'alam, a cause and effect. You could directly see the effect, the cause, the effect, each thing which comes from another. The son which comes from the father. People directly could connect a puzzle because there's something which is missing in this, something which is needed from this. But here it's the idea that the idea of ilav v'alam, something comes from that thing. which the whole idea of yesh me'ayin koach hayuli is shaloi be'erech, and at the same time that it's shaloi be'erech, this is the beginning of kelim, of tzimtzum, of olamis. It's not be'erech and it is be'erech, and this is the beginning, but at the same time it's shaloi be'erech. And in it is koilo, everything. Doesn't necessarily feel the shayrish, begalui, not necessarily. Is it dear beratzin? It's dear 100%. The way the person decides to use out the koyach in the seichel, in his seichel, in the tumas and nefesh, there's also in the person, also in the daimim, in tzemech, and every single thing. There's this idea of koyach hayuli before the thing was created. There's this idea of koyach hayuli, which we're speaking befrat here about the Indian of olamis. If you want to use the word pshitos, it will be one word pshitos. After the idea of pshitos, there's also a bitoy that you could find in Chasidos, ein metzius ve'efsharis lemetzius. It's not a metzius, and it's a efsharis lemetzius. Then there's the idea of hayuli, which is shayich to yesh. Hayuli, which is shayich to the koiches hayesh, which the yesh, dafka comes from hayuli, the beginning of yesh. We're not talking necessarily about a physical thing, but the tzimtzum, the kelim, bechlal, that there should be a nivra, another metzius, is shayich to hayuli. Hayuli, which is shayich to yesh. There's this idea that he brings down in Ayin Beis, and also in the Abarbanel, which connects it to the idea of yesh me'ayin, which is be'erech and it's shaloi be'erech. But this is how the Eibishter, there's somewhere in the Seder Ishtalshlos that there was this idea of yesh me'ayin from somewhere, the idea of koach hayuli, like it's brought down in different places. You have the hayuli, which is kariv la'ayin. You have the concept of Chassidus, which you'll find, the hayuli, which is kariv la'ayin. It's kariv, it's close to nothing. Yesh me'ayin. So there's the yesh, and there's the idea how it's kariv la'ayin. And we should know that the emes of yesh is the yesh amiti, which is the Eibishter. And the ayin is us, we're the nothing. It comes from yesh to ayin, which the marshal they bring from this is the tzurach alamish, the flintstone with the fire. The shayrish of fire wants to connect, but at the same time, you can't find it in the spark. Even if you hit the stone, the fire comes out. But it's not something which you could be megala, you could say, you could see it, but he feels it. At the same time, it's a beginning for a new metzius. The koach hayuli is a connection to the shayrish where he comes from, and at the same time, it's a new beginning. Which in this, there's the two tzedad. We find these two things. You have the koach hayuli, which brings two seder ishtalshalos. You have the kelim in seder ishtalshalos, which starts in malchus of olam atzilus, that there should be bechlal, this idea of olam abriya, which starts, this is doctrine of the koach of koach hayuli. You have the beginning of brias, of nivroim, which comes from the koach hayuli. Reishus ha'ishavus of metzius comes from koach hayuli. Gashmis ha'olam comes from koach hayuli. In the Esses Firis Haganuzis, the Esses Firis Haganuzis were Ba'etzem, which these Esses Firis Haganuzis are Ba'etzem, the Esser Midis, which the Esser Midis are connected to Asar Maimaris, which is, this is how the Eibishter decided to connect the world, to create the world, which is, all this is coming through Seder Ishtalshos, going down, down, down. It's coming from Olam, is coming down. Then there's this akudin. I'm not a Kabbalist, I'm not a mashpia, but you have the idea of akudin, brudim, the kudin, all these ideas in the olamis. Comes down, lower, 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 but the etzim, if I would use one word, it would be pshitos, the koyach, and the tzurach alamish, and it's shaykh in every person, in every eilim, in every single nivra that was created in this world. It has two tzadim to it, a connection to the shayrish, and at the same time a separate mitzias, even though he feels a deeper inner connection, but at the same time you don't see it, you don't feel it. But it is felt at the same time. You have, from that comes the chsaibic. After chsaibic, or in chsaibic itself, you have pnimiyus chsaibic, chitzonius chsaibic, ratzin, tainu, meyos, alafim, coming down into seder shtalshalos. You have the idea of all these ideas. You have coming down to chokhmah, the atzilus, olam abriya, chomer ההיולי. You have a bunch of ideas in the idea of ההיולי. To say understand, I'm not going to say understand. Pashut, in a few words, it's a koach pshutus. It's the chomer, which includes in it everything that could come out of it, and how we decide, and how the Eibush decided to use and to be mechayim mahav the ilmus comes from this koach ההיולי, and at the same time it is karev la'ayin, and it's the shadish of yesh. I'm sure people should be ma'ayin in this idea and speak to their local mashpiyim, to be ma'ayin in this idea of koach ההיולי, but it's the idea of koach pashut, the tzura chalamish. The koach, the fire which is in it, but it's only in this gala through hitting it. The fire is in there. Once the fire comes out, it wants to be connected to the shadish, but you don't see it. You don't see it. Not necessarily will you feel the fire. If you touch the gachelas, the coal, you'll feel it. If you go closer to the bonfire, you see it even. But however, the tzura chalamish, the flintstone, is something which it's in there, but it's something which needs to be in this galan, which is the shadish of the fire that will come out of it after. But this, of course, is all mamish. If you want to say one word on the idea of koach ההיולי, however much I could say that my small chveis understands abyssal chassidus. The more you learn, you realize you don't know. The more you learn, you feel like you're in quicksand and you're trying to go out of the quicksand, and you're pashut realizing that there's so much more pashut to swim in the Olam Chassidus. L'achray, the Rebbe, Hashab, is mamshach. Any moving my way is chachus, was what's this chachus? What are we mechadish in this Indian? Alloi, gam keidem atzimtzum, hayir in seif memala kol makim achol. Before the tzimtzum, there was no tzimtzum. Before the tzimtzum, after the tzimtzum, it's this idea of the Eibishter memala kol makim achol. The Eibishter, you want to say, was mitzamtzim in himself a place. He made a shaykh to have this ilam geilim, this grabber welt. See, the chayre, haligam keidem atzimtzum. Before the tzimtzum, there was no tzimtzum. There was Yemais and Masiach. There was Gilo Likus. The Ma'ala Kol. There was this idea of Hoya Eidin say Ma'ala Kol Makim Hachol. Ach Apip Pashutu. Tchila Shaya and say Ma'ala Makim Hachol. Relaya Abshalia is Mציאות. The whole chiddush that Rebbe Nishar wants to tell you over here now. Why did they? What's this whole idea of creating the Olamus and making a chol b'makim pnui? And dafke through that, the Eibusher was. What was the Eibusher's taiva? To have gilo likas in olam hazar gashmi. If there's no tzimtzum, if there's no olam, there can't be a gilui in tachtoinu. The Eibusher in his dira could be b'chol atzmusay. Dafke if he creates a dira. But if everything is Eibishter, and the way it is now is also everything is Eibishter. But what's the difference? The Eibishter decided to put a Tzimtzum on the Vrayim. The Eibishter decided to create something in himself. The Tzimtzum is only Lagabi the Nivra, not Lagabi the Boira. the Tzimtzum is only legabe the nivra and not legabe the boide. In order to have gilo likos, he had to create something which doesn't necessarily feel a direct connection to its source. Something which will be menaged to its source. And it comes from that place. And dafka in that tachten, which can't be any greater tachten, the Eibusher wants a gili. He wants there to be mizgal. Over there I want to be mizgal myself. That's his type. And for type of there's no kashes on the Eibusher's types. Okay, now they love you, gili by the most cool. There was no gili in the legrasã heigeelemis. After the Eibusher created the Eilemis. There was Eilemis, there was everything before. But dafke now, when the Eibusher created the Eilemis, Hamshich in Gilo and say, should be net Tzimtzom. Will be Mamshich the Eid and Seif, which is before the Tzimtzom. Will be Mamshich that Eid. Hare Gilo, who this Gilo. But Eilemis Chulu, we may use the Ascholas is Habs Loya, actually use Kishaya Meira Eid, should be net Tzimtzom, call Makim, Lachen is Habe, Yehoilum and Kabel, Gamkin Eid as a after this Habs Eilemis, it's Shaykh to have this Gilo, Shloimar, which cultivates Chai in Gilo Akav. It's brought down in Chaim. This idea of Gilo Akav, which we said that Gilo Akav is connected to the Eid, which is before the Tzimtzom. And you be Mamshel Dafkan from there. Even though that was in the beginning, there wasn't this efshadis to have his havus hakelim. There wasn't a shaykh. It wasn't bechlal shaykh to have his havus of kelim, which is a double nifred, another mitzvah which is separate, which is menaged teibish to telikos. Achshen is have gam shemeir behem erakam einam is madlam. And after they were created, and even though that they were created and there's meir in them the irakav, they're not being misbattled to their shaydish. Making who bechlalos oilos. The bechlalos oid and seif shalifnei hatzimtzum. The same thing is with the oid and seif, which is before tzimtzum. So the achashin is how oilos. After the oilos were created, yecholim lakabel the oid zechu gamki. Shleimar, what does the Rebbe Rasham want to tell us over here? Hamoshel was kemoi ma'ashpa sa'seichel ma'arav l'talmid. The ashpa of seichel from the Rav to the Talmud. When the Rav is b'mashpia seichel to the Talmud. Hare ima yes mashpia l'itchas oimik pnimius hachachmasei hare lo hayav shas l'kapu tzadich lahashpia lo yei mitzumtzum shalifi yarkei. If the way the Rav learns his seichel, that's the way he gives it over to the Talmud. He's being, not only is he not being mashpia on the Talmud, he's being poigim in the kelim of the Talmud. If a person wants to get water, and he sticks out his hand by a massive, he goes to Niagara Falls to get a cup of water. Not only is he going to go down with the water, his body's going to fly down with the water. The whole idea of taking the ratzon, the way the Rav learns the ratzon, it's not shaykh. It's pasha not shaykh. What needs to be? What does the Eibusher have to do if we want to feel it? There has to be tzimtzum after tzimtzum after tzimtzum after tzimtzum after tzimtzum after tzimtzum until it's shaykh to get a cup of water from this great fall, from this great rushing water, which is rushing. In order to get this koyach, this cup of water, there's tzimtzum made. In order for somebody to have this abyssal mashu kesher to the Eibusher, the seichel haratzin, the seichel of the melamed to the talmud, there's tzimtzum after tzimtzum after tzimtzum. The melech was mimatamtzim on the talmud. Is there a tzimtzum in the melech seichel? No, he was mimatamtzim the seichel to give it over to the talmud. The baby can't run before he learns how to walk. The baby can't eat food before he learns how to. He has a pashut. You have to be megadol the baby. There's talich, there's steps, there's ways how to be megadol the baby. The more a person learns chassidus, the more he feels a gilo, a connection to the Eibishter. Or the person is fagrep in the Eilam, the more richuk, the more further away he feels from the Eibishter. But again, the tzimtzum is only lagabi the nivre. Lagabi the beira, there is no tzimtzum. The Rebbe decides to bring two basic mashalim, like it's brought down kam it's mevorim chassidus. A baby which was created with glasses. And the baby comes in, he says, I could see the sun. And somebody tells him, my baby, you were born with glasses. Go explain to the baby that he was born with glasses. You could see the sun. It's not the sun, mishlei musay. Why? Because he has a tzimtzum on him. On the nivre, on the baby, there's glasses. He was born, so you can't tell him he does have glasses, he doesn't have glasses, he doesn't know what are you trying to tell him. He says, I could see, I could feel, but the Eibishter made a tzimtzum on the person, which is part of the tzimtzum, that he thinks, that he knows, and he feels, and he needs to know that Ba'atzim, the Eibishter put a tzimtzum on the nivra, that everything is Eibishter, everything is Elikus. The other marshal is that in the room there's diamonds. Not of us. He's on for, he's trying to find Epis light, and there's shmata after shmata, there's a bunch of curtains and the halamas stadium and dirt on this diamond. And the diamond will not, you try to find the diamond, and even if you find it, it'll look like a piece of dirt. So the Eibishter decided to be metzamtzim and make the nivra in Eilam Azah. There's another mind where the Rebbe Rasham says, if you want to go out of this dark tzimtzum, a person should start looking and feeling and living hashgacha pratis in every single thing in his life. Tana Rabbana Tavrish Mem Gimel, the Rebbe Rasham says we have to live in a eifin of hashgacha pratis. Every single thing, from the morning to the night, in your life, in another person's life, from daimim to me'achai, medaber, every single thing is hashgacha pratis. The Rebbe Rasham continues over here. This whole idea of seich from the Rav to the Tam. Machshim Kabbalah Sayir, and after he's Kabbalah Sayir and Tzumtzum, he gets this little Tzimtzum. And Nitvas Beniklad Besichli, and it comes and it makes sense, and it's enclosed in the Seichel of the Talmud. After this, this Pnimi Seichel, you could come to other deeper in Yanim of Seichel Arav. But this is what it says: after 40 years, a person starts to have Koyim Inish Adaita Darabe is das like as Rebbe. And you could start being Mekabel, the Rots and the Seich like as Arav. Tzarech Lahavin Zeh Tzarech Liyos Tzarech Leimar Zeh Gamkin Mitzah Tikun Aked. This is also Mitzah Tikun Aked in the Talmud. The Rebbe Rashab says, we have to say that this is also shaykh to the kelim. That what mitakin mizdachich hakelim meichi shaloi, that he's mizdachich, he's cleaning and he's fixing the kelim in his moyach seich. You do the Ashpos Arab Talmud, the way the Rab decides to be Mamshich and to be Mashpi on the Talmud, so the Chushim, the way the Talmud is going to be formed, is connected specifically to the way the person gets his Amshach from his Rab. Like this is an example which will Yuvon could understand. After they decided to create the worlds, which it is in this Eilamis. Dafke the Erakav do it like its own Gamki. This idea of the Pashut, the Pnimi, Betzachtech Chati, Be'er Pnimi, Betzachtech Chati Akeli. מבפנים, והאיר מעקיף מצח צריכה צעקילים מבחוץ. זה האיר מעקיף and האיר פנימי, and they both clean out. the האיר פנימי מבפנים, and the האיר חיצון, it says מבחוץ. וזה שחיילים אחר כך לקבל גם מבחינת כלולוס האיר, And dafke through this cleanliness, which is al-derech, the Rabbi Mamshech Seich to the Talmud, it's efsharius to be megadol the Talmud, it's efsharius to bring more gilo of the Eibishter into this world through these oides, pnimi, oides makif, which are cleaning out the inner. It cleans out the inside of the keli, the outside of the keli. It's making a efsharius, a possibility for the eir to come into the keli in a greater life. This was making shaykh to be makabel also ikololus digair. Shalamayl migile akabel. Wa iker hu the fisha hamshach he idea tater. That afke this hamshach is too tater. See, like it says, Avaya is la amayitin ein is la tater. What's the idea of Hashem is la amayitin? Hashem barach sami bashalim. It's dafke connected through limit la tater. Is in is la tater. What's kayach? Kayach is tater. So idea tater through the nik tater. Chila matzadikim la kabachin as ein tzayv shala ma'ila ma'ila meis uleis batlam mitzusa. Dafke through them learning tater, they can makabel chayus from the enemies and they won't be misbatl from their mitzus. And this is also making it possible for the enemies to makabel derech through this limit of tzaddik. Meshakaso b'sev shalbeinim seif perek lamed vav v'nimtze gam she'erhu oisei ha'eir she'hoyim ha'malam makim ha'chol k'edem ha'tzimtzum. Even though this idea of what the eir, which was memal l'makim ha'chol k'edem ha'tzimtzum, the eir is the eir pashut, which was memal. It was if everything was Eibishter, everything. This eir was a eir pashut everywhere. Before even the Eibishter decided to make this Tzimtzum Kavayachal in himself. Nevertheless, his Chadrus was what's the Chiddush? The Chiddush is that there's Shaykh to be now a Gilo of Elikos in Eilos. And there is more to say. And not only that, that it's Shaykh now. Dafke after the Eibishter created the elements, even though there was this Eir Eliki before, and now it's Shaykh that there should be a greater Eir than it was before. The Eir Pasha that was before the Tzimtzum. This is what it states. This is what it says. This is the Tesafis Eir Dafke through doing Torah mitzvahs. She'yayir b'chinas pnimis v'atzmus teretzev shalamayla gam eir she'oyam emala makim ha'cholchol. This is a eir which you could be mamshach through Torah mitzvahs, higher eir that was never before the night and a higher eir that was even before